Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome here. Thanks for making the way here to the RBB Lounge and our amazing Amazfit morning that we got prepared for you. I know it's fairly early in the morning. I hope you all got your coffee. We're going to hold the coffee machine back there during our presentations, but I believe on the left-hand side where the water is, there is also some filtered coffee if there is a desperate need. But I promise you, we've got amazing people on stage here, so you should all do okay without extra caffeine, without falling asleep in the next roughly hour that we're going to be up here today. Obviously, by now, I assume you all know why you're either here or on the live stream. I want to say hello to everybody joining us there on the Amazfit YouTube channel as well. We are launching the new series of Amazfit sports watches, and I got 3 guests for this up here. We're going to have some keynotes first, and then we're going to have a little bit of panel discussions. And of course, we want to encourage you to ask your questions as well. If there's something that's really burning on your fingers and it's got to get out straight away, then we can do so while we're having the chat up here. Otherwise, we got a couple of minutes after the rounds as well to ask individual questions. And of course, all 3 gentlemen that we're going to see up here in a moment are going to be around to answer questions while we're mingling, talking, looking at the watches, trying them out, and drinking more coffee. And with that, I want to welcome the General Manager for Amazfit EMEA, Jesus Carrero, onto the stage.
Hello.
It is all yours.
Yes. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning, guten Morgen. Exactly 1 year ago, we met here in this very nice location. And during this period of time, I think we achieved a lot of things. And I would like to start with this thing, with a recap what happened in the last year. But our mission has been to support our sport athletes, everyday users, active people that enjoy the sports, the healthy lifestyle, with the best support to understand how the bodies recover, how you perform better, and how you can improve all your day-to-day with the best technology in the market. So, let me do a quick recap of the Amazfit ecosystem, starting with the hardware, with the wearables. So during this year, we introduced some of the product line, new product line of wearables, of a sport wearable. At the beginning of the year, we launched BIP 6 and Active 2 series that the user loved it. Was very, very good reviews and customer feedback about these product lines. But 3 months ago, we launched the Perfect Combo. The Perfect Combo means Balance 2, the multi-sport watch with more than 170 sports, and the Hilo strap with the scheme to follow the train, recover, repeat. So we think that this tandem is the best to continue improving your performance and to recover better and to check 24 hours, 7 days, how your body is performing. So, but the Amazfit ecosystem is not only the wearables, it's also the software. So we introduced ThebOS 5 after listening the feedback of the sport users, the athletes, the everyday user. And after listening the feedback, we renew our software and we introduce new features that you are going to enjoy today. But also during this year, we renew the Theb application for your smartphones. I think this is more user-friendly, it's very easy to use. So the feedback from the clients is very positive. And also, we keep innovating with AI features. As you maybe remember, in the past, we introduced Theb Coach, our training platform. Also, we introduced a Theb Aura. This is a sleep service that helps you to sleep better. And during this year, we introduced a new feature named Theb Food Logging. So you can track your nutrition, your meals, thanks to the AI. You can know how calories you are consuming every day, and everything is for free. You can find in the application. So we don't have subscription for these services. But 1 year ago, we also announced that Amazfit is the technological partner for Hyrox. I can tell you that Hyrox is one of the fast-growing sports at worldwide level, but especially here in Germany, is booming. The number of attendees grew more than 180% year on year. And here in Berlin, for example, the number of attendees hold the record with more than 19,000 people for one competition. So it's incredible. So we are very proud to be part of this community, to be part of these fast-growing sports, and especially because Amazfit is the only wearable brand that they provide a specific Hyrox sport mode. Last year, we introduced a physical fitness test that you can track if you are ready for the competition, but also introduced the Hyrox racing. And in your watch, you can find the specific racing stages for that day. And recently, we introduced a new Hyrox sport mode named Hyrox Training. And you can train every day with this new sports mode. And we are the only company that is able to provide this type of innovative features to the market. But let me tell you that the best athletes of the Team Amazfit are using this Hyrox mode, like Hunter McTire. This is the 3 times world championship, Hyrox world champion. And he's wearing the Tier 3 family every day. But Amazfit is not only Hyrox. We have many sports, as you know. Let me start with German Kripa. German Kripa is one of the top European marathon runner. And he's training for the World Championship in marathon in Tokyo, in Japan. And he's wearing Balance 2 right now. He's training with Balance 2. And he's tracking the recovery data and the training load with the Helio strap. And this is one of the best ambassadors. And also Bea Gonzalez. Bea Gonzalez is wearing the Amazfit wearables and using the Amazfit ecosystem, but she can track the paddle sport mode, dedicated sport mode, to track how she is training. And not only Bea Gonzalez, also we count on Jasmine Paulin. Jasmine Paulin is one of the world-class tennis player. She won the gold medal in couples last year in Paris, and she won the tournament in Rome during this year. So we are very proud to count on her for the tennis sports mode. But also, we have a very top elite American athletes like Gabby Thomas. Gabby Thomas is a sprinter. She won 5 medals in the Olympic Games in Tokyo or in Paris last year. So this is one of the best ambassadors. And recently, we announced that Derrick Henry is starting the new NFL season wearing a T-Rex family. So I think this is one of the top athletes. But we have more news. That's not all. Recently, we welcome 3 new top trail runner athletes that they ran in the Mont Blanc race last week. Let me introduce them. It's the first time that we are sharing with all of you. The first one is Rod Falbard. Rod Falbard is one of the best ultra trail runner. He finished in the 9th position last week in the 174 kilometers race. Unbelievable. So it's something that one day I need to achieve, but I think this is very, very long distance for everybody. And also Rosa Lara. Rosa Lara ran last week in the 61 kilometer race in Mont Blanc last week in a very difficult day, in a rainy day, but she performed very well. We are very proud of the performance of Rosita. But finally, we were very excited to share that Ruth Croft is the winner of the Mont Blanc race of the 174 kilometers. And I think you can see the real atmosphere watching this video that we have prepared for you. So, as you saw, Ruth conquered the victory, was the winner of this ultra trail running. I would like to share with you some facts, interesting facts, to understand how is this competition and how these athletes need the best technology to face the tough condition. During that day, the conditions were very tough because it was a rainy day, foggy day, in the middle of the night, very difficult condition to race this type of race. And let me start with the first fact. It's about the number of kilometers. It's 174 kilometers in the mountain. So it's not a marathon. It's an ultra trail marathon in the Mont Blanc, okay? So in the high mountains. This is the first one, the first fact. Second one is the elevation gain. The elevation gain is around 10,000 meters. But just to put it in the context, it's similar, it's more than the Everest mountain. Or, for example, is the altitude that the airplanes are flying at. So 10,000 meters is an incredible challenge. And also the timing running. So it's more than the 22 hours running. So it's very tough condition. And finally, route or road that they ran 174 kilometers during almost one day. All of them, road, route, Rosa, do you know what do they have in common? So all of them, they are wearing Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro. 14 titanium, built for every road. And let me introduce Matt, that they can tell you more about this amazing smartwatch. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. As we mentioned, that was a great look into the brand, the athletes, and a lot of the excitement and momentum we've had built over the summer. So now I'll dive into the products. As Jesus has mentioned, the T-Rex 3 Pro is forged in titanium, built for every route. When we look at the design of the watch, it's really intentionally built in a specific way compared to the T-Rex 3 that's still currently out on market. We've added a new grade 5 titanium bezel and buttons. It still has a very vibrant AMOLED display, but we've added a scratch-resistant sapphire glass. Going back to that durability that I mentioned earlier, thinking about the weather-resistant functionality of the device, this can really withstand a broad range of temperatures from minus 30 degrees Celsius all the way to a plus 70 degrees Celsius. And then the water rating on this is 10 ATM, which is up to 45 meters, which we also have, and we'll talk about this later, there's a scuba diving feature on here. So this is really meant for that ready for adventure watch. We talk about the screen. It does have, as I mentioned, a vibrant AMOLED display. That's really powered by the nits that are in the watch. And for those that don't know what a nit is, that is a unit of luminescence, comparable to like running or cycling power, which is measured by watts. This is measured by nits. A lot of competitors have roughly 1,500 to 2,000 nits. We have an industry-leading 3,000 nits in the T3 Pro. New feature that we're really excited about, and I think once you've had an opportunity to try, you'll like it as well. We've added a flashlight into the bezel, a 2-color LED, and we do also, it comes with an SOS function as well. You can see the blinking there, really for the SOS. Very readable at night. And then other new features that we're adding, a built-in speaker and microphone. There's really several different functionalities for this that you would enjoy. Number one, if you're following a route or a course, as you're approaching a turn, you'll receive feedback from the watch talking to you of like, turn 3 meters, turn 2 meters, 1 meter, and so on. Also, you can receive and take phone calls right from your watch. So when you're out riding and you want to pull your phone out of your bag or your pocket, just answer it and talk through your watch. As always, we do have free downloadable maps that you can download from the Zepp app directly onto your T3 Pro. We've added new contour maps that are much more crisp and clear to read. We still have our ski slopes. You can see a lot of the features, points of interest with ski slopes, cable cars, chairlifts, so on. Within the maps, you'll notice compared to the T-Rex 3, the readability of our maps are much more clear and crisp. We have enhanced visualization and more terrain features, along with adding points of interest. So if you're out walking, running, riding, you can look on your device and see there's a coffee shop or a restaurant around the corner, gas station, what have you. As mentioned, if you look at the T-Rex 3 and then you look at the T-Rex 3 Pro and you're comparing the maps, you'll notice, again, I mentioned this earlier, the contrast and readability, but when you look at other features like the roadways or you're looking at the trail systems, they're much more clear on the T3 Pro. So as Jesus mentioned, over the last year, you'll see a significant change in the readability. New features for navigation. This is really exciting. Within the Zepp app, you have the ability to create a route right there. It's all just very intuitive. You can add 8 waypoints, download it onto your watch. Or you have on your watch, you have the ability to create a round trip. If you're in a new area or you're at home, you can do it right here on your watch. We had the ability, it's like point touch on the watch. If you're following a route, you now have the ability to go off course and it's auto rerouting. So if you see that point of interest or that coffee shop and you decide to go to the right instead of left, it will figure out how to get you back to the route and navigate you using audible vibration alerts to get you back to where you're going. With that, we were talking about points of interest. Walking through the round trips, which is really nice if you're traveling and you want to go off for a run, you're in a new area. For example, we're in Boston in the United States. You go to create a round trip, you select your outdoor running, what direction you would like to go. In this case, we're going to go east. I'm going to set it for 10K. Voila. You have your round trip right on your device. You hit start and you follow along. As we transition into the sensors, we have added our newest 6th generation BioTracker sensor into the T-Rex 3 Pro. And the BioTracker really is driving that heart rate monitoring and in a lot of our other recovery features within the device. We've also added our, as you would expect, we have our accelerometer and gyroscope, which is for our activity motion to determine if you're out running, walking, sleeping. And then we have our geomagnetic sensor to help with navigation support. Barometric sensor, again, this is our outdoor trail running watch for weather alerts, altitude tracking, and all those high altitude features you would need. We do have our dual frequency GPS for accurate pace, distance measurement. And then a new feature that we launched this summer with the Helio strap was our so we did add our BioTracker 6.0. This is our 6th generation that we launched this summer. As I mentioned, we put it in the T-Rex 3 Pro. This is for accurate real-time heart rate. You can determine or monitor your aerobic and anaerobic and fatigue levels, along with your recovery time, training load, heart rate variability, sleep analysis, including your deep sleep. And then what we're really excited about that we launched with Helio Strap was our BioCharge energy monitoring. We've added that into the T-Rex 3 Pro. And for those, if you remember from earlier this summer, this really monitors your energy levels throughout the day. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the panel session. Continuing on, as Jesus mentioned over the last year, I think with the Balance 2, we had 160 feature or activity modes. With the T-Rex 3 Pro, we have over 180 sports or activity modes. So thinking like outdoor sports, it has everything, sorry, I'll go back. We have everything outdoor sports, everything from outdoor running, mountain biking, trail running, indoor sports, treadmill, all sorts of fitness classes, water sports. As I mentioned, this is a scuba diving watch, so there is a scuba activity profile on there. And then within that, oops, wrong button. How do I go back? Hello? Sorry, within that, we have our indoor water sports. And then talking about scuba dive, there's a lot of those features that we talked about that'll be very overt on the watch, like the bezel, the buttons, but there's a lot of hidden features that will reveal themselves. So when thinking about like scuba diving, for example, you have your real-time alerts and notifications for your decompression stops, your timing, but then within strength training mode, for example, if you're following a structured workout, you'll receive notifications before the workout to say, hey, today we're working on an upper body workout versus lower body workout. Thinking about some of those unique disciplines that Jesus mentioned earlier, we are the official Hyrox partner, so we have the official Hyrox race mode on our watch, along with PFT. Now we're introducing the new official Hyrox training mode. What this is you can go in, start that activity mode, but you can determine what disciplines within that Hyrox activities that you want to focus on that day. So you know within Hyrox there's many different stations. Kettlebell, sled push, wall ball, etc. So when you're doing that training, if you just want to focus on one or two, you set it up on your watch, you go in, that way you don't have to go in and keep clicking buttons in strength training to go find the appropriate and classify it as a kettlebell or a sled push. The nice thing, if you've had experience with our Amazfit watches or the previous T-Rex 3 that we will continue on with the T3 Pro, is the customization of the activity profiles in the watch. You essentially set it up the way that you want it in terms of the data fields. You can have as many as up to 6 data fields on a screen. You can have 2, 3, or you can have 1. Within certain trail, like the activity profiles, trail running is a good example. Right out of the box, it is set up with the data fields that are most common to users of that activity. But we also understand that users want to be able to change those activity profiles based on their preferences. You can do that right on the watch, no problem. And then going on to some of the ecosystem of the watch, we have a lot of the workout extensions you would expect to see or data fields. For example, burning calories, still there, direct paths, point to point, still on the watch. Our compass, of course. And then for those that don't know, within the ZEP app, we have a section that is our mini app store where you can go in and download other, like our breath activity profile, some of our other data fields, watch faces, but we also have a podcast app in there where you have the ability to download 4 million podcasts directly onto your watch. So if you're going out, think about this, if you're going out for a really long run or a really long bike ride and you want to leave your phone at home, your podcasts are still on your watch and you can listen to them directly into your earbuds, or if you have your speaker on, you can go that route. So that's really exciting. And then part of that ecosystem, similar to what Jesus mentioned earlier, where we launched the Balance 2 along with the Helio strap, we now have the T-Rex 3 Pro, which is compatible with the Helio strap as well. So it is a fully integrated training system, so you're not missing out any of your data points at any point in the day. If you want to take your watch off, you can still wear your Helio strap on your wrist or your arm. Questions that we often receive, are our products compatible with third-party sensors? The answer is yes. For example, I have my T-Rex 3 Pro paired to my power meter, my speed and cadence sensors, and we're excited to be partnering with other companies like Stride power meters. So those that are into the trail running or outdoor running world, that is a running power meter. We're working on that integration now, and that will be coming available soon. And then, of course, within the ecosystem, everything rolls up into the source of truth, which is the ZEP app. This is where you can find, if you're not want to look on your watch, you can find all of your sleep data, your workout activity. This is where you can go and look at your historical information to see how you were performing a week ago, a month ago, and so on. And the beauty of all of this, you're paying the cost of the device. Outside of that, there's no subscriptions, right? There's no hidden costs. So all of the data is yours. It's free to use it how you want it. Just purchase the device. You have it all right in your app for you to use. And then within the ecosystem, the other question that we like to point out is we are compatible with several third-party fitness apps. This is not all of them. This is just a high-level reflection of a few of them. We are working on several new integrations with existing partners like Training Peaks, for example, where today you finish a workout and a lot of your data flows up to Training Peaks. We're working on an integration where if you have a coach and you're using the Training Peaks platform, you set up your training plan throughout the course of the night, that training plan for the upcoming day and upcoming week will flow onto your device. So when you wake up in the morning and you have a track workout, it's right there. You don't have to worry about going into the Training Peaks app on your phone to figure out what you're doing. So that's coming soon, as well as intervals.icu, another platform, similar platform, that's also coming. So that's the ecosystem. Going back to the hardware of the device, let's talk about battery life. 44 millimeter, typical use, we have up to 17 days. Heavy use is up to 8 days. And then with GPS and always on display, that's what that little acronym is at the end, always on display, up to 13 hours. For the 48 millimeter, which is what a lot of us are wearing here today, typical use up to 25 days. Heavy use is 10, and then GPS always on is up to 19 hours. And then, you know, a lot of these tests are internal tests that we're doing with our team, understanding that when you're out using it and you're in different environments, there's heavy tree covers, there might be a lot of buildings. Just know that when you're using a lot of sensors and you're using the flashlight and you're using ZepFlow and the speaker, the battery flow or the battery drain there will be variability among the different people. So just know that these are not the final set numbers. There's always going to be little caveats there, but these are the estimated numbers that we feel really good about. To kind of recap here, the T-Rex 3 Pro will be $399.99 in euros, pounds, and USD. Thinking about some of those key features that we introduced, the high strength grade 5 titanium. We've introduced the built-in speaker, 10 ATM up to 45 meter water rating, the 2-color LED flashlight, the 3000 nits best-in-class display, and then up to 3 weeks battery life. On the navigational side of the features, we've introduced the rerouting feature, points of interest, contour maps, and then the accuracy of your GPS, pace, heart rate, and then again, the durability of the product speaks to, you know, it's ready for any adventure, whether it's minus 30 degrees Celsius or positive 70. Getting a look at the family here, we will have 4 SKUs, 2 in the 44 millimeter and 2 in the 48. We have in the 44 millimeter, black and gold and Arctic gold. And then in 48 millimeter, we have the black gold and then the tactical black. Okay, as of today, the 48 millimeter T-Rex 3 Pro is available on Amazfit.com or select retail partners. The 44 millimeter will be coming soon. And with that, we will be transitioning to our panel session. Till.
That's what we do. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Oh. Looks like we got an empty chair.
Yep.
So I promised you 3 speakers. We've only seen 2. So I want to bring Greg on stage here as well. Please join us. So to put it, go for it, please. Yeah. He deserves it. I mean, what? To put it into simple terms, well, Matt is more on the selling and marketing end. Greg is on the development end and everything. And it looks like we got a little bit of movement.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna let the room empty for everybody who's leaving here, and then continue in just about a minute's time.
All right.
Yeah. Coffee break.
Yeah. You have to play the music. Let's all
Yeah.
go to the snack bar. Let's go to the snack bar.
Yeah.
Actually, is my microphone even on, or did it turn it off? Did it turn us off?
On.
It's on? Okay, I don't know if I can't hear myself, I guess. Maybe that's by design.
So we want to spend the next roughly 20-ish minutes, I want to say, to dive a little more in a detail about, obviously, we've talked about the brand, where we've come, over the past year and everything, but we want to talk about the Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro, the features and everything that's in there. And Jesus mentioned a lot of new things and so on. So there is a clear trend on where the technology is going and so on. Can you take us through a couple of the trends that we're seeing, Greg?
Sure, yeah. So thanks everybody for joining. Really appreciate your joining us this morning. We're quite excited about the T-Rex 3 Pro. And yeah, so one of the trends that we see in the market generally is maybe starting back with a little historical perspective. It used to be novel back in the day to just be able to record a run or a ride on your watch. Then it became novel to record your sleep. And these days, the demand is really about 24/7 monitoring, including your recovery. And so, we've taken steps towards that trend to really make a complete ecosystem of products that match the use case that you have. So sometimes you want to wear a watch, sometimes a ring is going to be more comfortable, or a Helio strap, so on. So, and all our products are meant to be both interchangeable and usable together. So that's how we sort of meet that trend, if you will.
So, I mean, we've seen a lot of amazing athletes that you've displayed, right? They're the top of the crop right now in terms of brand marketing and everything, but it's a watch for everybody out there, for everybody who is an athlete. Why is the 24/7 so important to the everyday user like me as well?
Well, it really just comes down to this increased awareness for people to really understand their body, understand their health, and really sort of calibrate the feeling that they have. Are they really tired? Do they feel great today? With the actual data to really kind of match that up and truly understand what your body's going through.
So you very briefly mentioned it. One of the things is you mentioned the battery life, right? And there's different factors into and everything. But for 24/7, if I want to measure everything, you got to have proper battery life in there.
Yeah, so when we're thinking about battery life, right, it comes down to a couple different things. Like number one, the sensors, of course. So our BioTracker sensor, which really drives a lot of that functionality within the device, that helps improve our battery life. But yeah, so up to, we talked about the GPS and always on display being up to 19 days. But there's also settings within the device that you can change where you have like GPS max mode, for example, for max battery life, where you essentially shut off all of your sensors, right? You shut off your heart rate sensor, you shut off your Bluetooth, some of your notifications, and you just have your GPS turned on. Now, the first thing that people think about is like, oh, you're missing data. Well, if you have it paired with your Helio armband, which we introduced a couple weeks ago, or you're using your Helio strap on your wrist, you're not missing any of the data. The point there is you're improving your battery life, and you could get up to 100 hours. Or in a different scenario, like Jesus was talking about Rosita a little earlier, where she was running for roughly 6 hours. She had everything turned on and lit up, and she took a picture that we shared on our Amazfit social channel. She still had over 70% battery life after the end of her race, and GPS on, and under cloud cover in the mountains. It was really impressive.
So obviously, fantastic battery life. We got the ecosystem in everything.
Yep.
But then there is a lot more to the new T-Rex 3 Pro. Where does the inspiration for the different features and technology and everything that goes into no product, where does it come from?
Well, so a variety of things. Obviously, we listen to our customers very deeply, and actually, of all the places I've worked, this is a company that really puts that at the forefront. But in addition to that, there's a reason we sign the athletes that we sign, and it's not just about their social reach and that they're at the pinnacle of their chosen sport. It's also because they're great technological development partners for us. Every one of these athletes that you saw up on the screen before has given us great feedback on the products. They really are technical development partners with us, almost to the point where they feel like they're running the product, or they like to think so. And but we love that. We love to hear both the positive and the negative from them. It really helps us drive a stronger product overall.
So then they come with ideas, things they want and so on. Some you decide are great. You implement them into the product. But it's not as easy as that. It's not like you pick something, it's integrated, done, right? So take us through a couple of the things you have done, you have implemented, and how you did it.
Sure. Well, some of the things that you can think about is like when you talk about the durability of the watch, we've got the bezel that's titanium, the grade 5. We talked about the sapphire glass and everything, but you'll notice the case itself is still a polymer. And so the reason for that is because we take our feedback from our athletes, from our customers, and so on, but we try to balance that out to what we understand in terms of the technologies and what's the right thing to do for the customer. And so in this case, these surfaces here, these are the ones that are going to take all the beating, right? Or most of it. Like, when's the last time you hit a rock with the bottom of your watch, right? It doesn't really happen. So, so there's a trade-off there, and the trade-off is lightweight or better GPS accuracy. We've got an antenna inside here, so you say like, well, why wouldn't we have just an all-titanium watch? Well, the simple answer is because we've got an antenna inside here, and then you put metal between the antenna and the satellite signal. That's a lot harder to detect, right? So all those sorts of trade-offs that we make in order to make the best watch for our prototype customers, which are our athletes, and that trickles down to regular consumers as well.
And as part of that, though, one thing that we were talking about, the design of it, like it's intentionally designed where, thinking back, we were talking about this earlier, a few years ago, it was really, when sport watches or fitness watches came out, it was really about the functionality of the watch, and there was very little regard for how the watch looked, right? Now we're actually starting to swing that pendulum back a little bit, because we want customers wearing the watches 24/7, because we want that continuous monitoring of data. So there has to be a little bit of a stylistic element to it. We're not going to say it's a lifestyle watch by any means, but if you look at it, like there's a lot of reasons not to take it off, and we're just eliminating those reasons to take it off.
One of the things, besides the design now, jumping back into the technology and everything, the new features, is you mentioned an incredibly bright display. So now, not many of us run through the night and need bright light in the dark and everything. Why is it still so important to have it in the watch?
Yeah, so as far as the brightness goes, as I mentioned earlier, right, like we have an industry-leading level of brightness. We have 3,000 nits, which is unit of luminescence. I talked about that earlier. But think about it like this, right? You're out in these variable conditions. You're in the mountains, you're up, down, it's sunny, cloud cover, you're in the trees, you might be wearing sunglasses. The last thing you want to do is look at your watch and not be able to read it at a glance. So having a very vibrant display, having it just pop right off your wrist, you want to be able to have it very readable in all conditions. And that AMOLED, that AMOLED display being that level of brightness it is, allows us to do that. Because we don't want to have anybody come back and say like, I can't read it. We haven't had anybody come to us and look at it and say, wow, like everybody's reaction has been, this is amazing. So like that's really the genesis of where that comes from.
I think it's definitely worth a try, no matter if it's like bright sunlight, you're running with sunglasses, it makes such a difference without a doubt. So now you promised us that you listen to the feedback, right? Yeah. And you integrate it from the user. Do you have examples, specific ones on this watch?
Yeah, so I mentioned of course about the durability at first, and I think one of the other things that we talk about on the software side would be biocharge. And I think we'll probably get into that in detail a little bit, but we've sort of learned from our customers, gained the feedback, and again, going back to this whole notion of being able to monitor your body 24/7 and gain insight that you didn't have before, that's another example of a feature that we've crafted to address the direct need of our consumers.
And then if you look at it, something has changed in the front here, and you would think, hold on, there's a flashlight. Who needs that?
Yeah, well, I can tell you a story about that. So, I'm from California. I live in San Diego. Terrible place to live, but I like it. And so I visit the California desert. It's a very dark place, not to mention hot. But going out camping one time in the not too distant past, it was dark, setting up camp at night, and unfortunately for me, I left my flashlight on the kitchen counter back home. So what I realized at that point is that the best flashlight that you own is the one you have on you. And trying to use just the screen of the watch was certainly not adequate. And so hence, we've got this great solution here that I think everybody's going to really enjoy.
And it's proper. So I think you got 3 different levels from what I've tested, plus a red light.
Yeah, so there's the 2 LEDs, so it's variable from 200 lux all the way up to 300 lux, and then there's the red light. There's also the SOS feature for emergencies.
And one more thing, it's actually a boost mode as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so you just press the 2 buttons instead, and you'll get this ultra bright, well, we call it boost, for a limited period of time. It's so bright that if you did it for very long, you'd actually damage the LED. So you work on it for a little while, and then let it cool down, and you can do it again.
And I can say, seriously, from personal experience being out there, I'm amazed by how often I use the flashlight. It's crazy. It's so convenient. It's on your wrist. And like, it's not just training. It's literally, if I go shopping in the dark and like just got to walk to the front door of the house, I put the light on.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many times throughout the day you find yourself in need, like trying to find an outlet or a USB, and it's like, instead of digging in your bag, and as Greg mentioned, it's like, just turn that on. It's so much more simple. And then the other safety factor of it, like let's talk about in terms of the activities, like if you're out running at night and you have it turned on, you can see the reflectors. There is a safety element to it, but I think in practical sense, as Greg was mentioning, like just the everyday functionality of it, it's just so nice.
And then there's something else. So this is like a visual new feature, but there's something you can hear now.
Yeah, well, we've added a speaker that was sort of missing in T-Rex 3. And as we expand the lineup and now have 3 models across our range rather than just 2, it was important to address that. And so where the rubber hits the road with that, of course you can make calls and things of that nature, and we can do that well. But really, the audible alerts, things that you can hear while you're working out, while you're cycling, for example, you can hear the upcoming turn. I don't have to look at the watch. It really has a lot of convenience.
It's probably, if you look at an example like Ruth at Mont Blanc, I mean, 174 kilometers with a gazillion turns, if you got the track on there, it's got to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's definitely not alone. There's always a voice talking to her.
There's never alone, never. Hey, speaking of her, you briefly touched it, right? I mean, it's a lot of cool new features and everything, and you said design is one part, but it's a functional watch, and it's got to function in all kinds of conditions. Minus 30 to plus 70. Not that I ever want to train in plus 70 or race.
Yeah.
But that's a huge span.
Yeah, it really was. And, being in Chamonix last week to see the different conditions, sunny, warm, you're in the mountains, then it's rainy. Yeah, having that temperature range there, and it combined with the water rating of 10 ATM, this really speaks to the watch that you don't have to worry about whether or not it will work in that condition. The watch is the last of your worries. Just go do it. And so when I think about those specs and the durability of it, it's really that's the foundation of the T-Rex 3 Pro.
And just like looking at it, I mean, we've just recently launched a watch. We were talking about high rocks, we were talking about golf modes and diving and everything. But now it's like, with the whole trail running, it's a new rugged outdoor element that's come to it, where the new features of the map were really important as well. You briefly touched them, but I'd love to dive into it a little more again. And just like, really, how did it change? What's possible now that hasn't been possible before?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Matt mentioned during the keynote presentation, we've put a lot of effort over the last year since we were here, launched T-Rex 3 last year, to improve the maps. Everything from the contour lines to POIs to just the look, the crisp look and feel, how snappy it is, when it re-renders as you slide around and navigate the map. Lots and lots of changes that makes the maps much more useful. But what really is new for us is it was always difficult, relatively speaking, in the past to import a route, from another service and so on. And so we've actually addressed that both on the watch and on the app. So the app has what I think is a really good routing function now. Frankly, easier to use for our use cases than, say, Google Maps may be, where you can actually just kind of grab a couple of points, however many you want, create a nice route, really simple, press the button, and it's down on the watch, and you're ready to go. Or if you didn't do that or don't want to do that, as Matt had shown during the keynote, we've got the ability to choose a route just based on a particular direction or to a POI, a point on the map, and just go. So really, that's really where we've made a step change this year in terms of our map and routing capability.
I gotta ask, is it gonna be only for the T-Rex 3 Pro, or will the new maps features and so on be integrated into other watches as well?
Yeah, so we definitely, our general philosophy, our general strategy is that we don't differentiate our products on software so much. There are various hardware features, style choices, those sorts of things to really set our watches apart across the range. So yeah, definitely there's the plan to roll out all those features to Balance 2, the original T-Rex 3, and so on.
We talked about mountain running and everything. We're going to talk about biocharge in a second a little bit, which is a very important feature. Again, if you wanted, for example, take Ruth as an example. But safety, you mentioned it, and preserving energy and everything and getting through the exercise. Very important is to rely on your watch when it comes to GPS, your speed, that you have an idea of how fast you're going, how much longer you're going to be going. How much emphasis was on the GPS? How good is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's state of the art. It's really at the top of the market. Like, we don't skimp on that. You saw how bright the screen is, for example. Like, we don't skimp on that kind of componentry. It really is the best of the best, and we take great care in terms of designing, say, for the antenna. We've got a circularly polarized antenna on here, which is much more sensitive. We handle, our chips handle the all 6 of the global positioning constellations, and so we really are at the top of the game. And when you compare apples to apples, versus all the competitors in the market, we're right at the top.
Obviously, as you said before, I just briefly want to touch it. We've seen it up on the screen, but with the features on, battery life is going to be drained a little bit. Yet it is, again, you used the word exceptional, not just the accuracy of the GPS, but the battery life as well. What can we expect?
Yeah, so as we were talking about, like battery life right now, up to 3 weeks battery life across the 48 millimeter and 44. And then with your GPS on, always on display, I believe it's up to 19 days. And then, I talked about it earlier, you have the ability to change different battery life setting modes. For example, that GPS max battery life, you can get up to 100 hours if you're using GPS always on. So it's really a little bit variable based on your use, how many notifications you have turned on, you're getting from your sports app, social media, whatever, how often you're using your flashlight. But, again, everyday use, up to 25 days. And then if you're using a little bit heavier, up to 19 or so.
And again, like you mentioned it, like if there's this photo of Rosita when she won the shorter distance in only just over 6 hours.
Only. Yeah. It was a really cool picture. If you go onto our social media handle at Global Amazfit, you can see it's 6 hours, GPS on, watch is lit up. She's still at over 70% battery life. That was really neat.
Again, I'm going to ask the question, how? Because everybody can build a big battery.
Yep.
That is nothing you invent new. But what else is different that the battery life is that good? Because the watch didn't get bigger.
Sure. So the battery is a piece of it, and actually we're quite generous in terms of the size of the battery. But as you said, it doesn't stop there. We have our own dedicated operating system, ZepOS, that we optimize. One of the things, of course, that we optimize for is battery life, and to really find all the great ways that we can provide a really, really fantastic experience in terms of GPS sensitivity, heart rate monitoring, and all the rest, but do it in a way that really sips the battery and prioritize for ourselves. We're actually quite vertically integrated in that way. The OS, the PPG sensor, which maybe we'll talk about here soon, all of those things are optimized deeply for things like battery life. So it isn't just the battery itself. It's how we actually choose to use that battery.
You kind of very briefly mentioned it there, the sensor and everything like being integrated and working properly together. Let's talk a little bit about the sensors and the parameters, because it plays into a lot of parts. One that we've very briefly touched, I want to touch a little more, and that is a recovery, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so on the recovery side, again, all the metrics you would expect to be in the watch, VO2 max, resting heart rate, HRV, those are all there. And the new feature that I talked about earlier is our biocharge energy monitoring feature. So this is really it monitors your energy levels throughout the day, and that changes based on your activities that you're doing, whether you're at work, you're running, you're resting, and this really helps you level set your expectation. For example, like let's say you get up in the morning, you have a workout in the afternoon, or you have a 2 a day, a double workout. If you get up, and you can see your biocharge numbers fairly low, this really helps manage your expectation about how that workout may go or how the rest of your day is going to go, because it's giving you a real-time indication of how your body's actually feeling at that particular moment. What's nice is thinking about that 24/7 ecosystem, right? Where if you're like myself, like I'll use, I don't like to wear my watch to bed. It's just, to me, it's a little bit much, so I take it off. There would be a big data gap there. That's where we partner that with the Helio strap. And again, I mentioned it earlier, it's a fully integrated training system, right? So I can take my watch off, I can wear this to bed, I'm still getting all of my sleep data, my heart rate data. So that way, when I get up in the morning, I put this back on my watch, everything syncs to the Zepp app, I get my updated score. That gives me, again, an indication of how my day is going to go. And then I should also mention, so the Helio strap I'm wearing on my wrist, just I think 2 weeks ago, we introduced the armband version, which in certain activities it's actually more accurate, because thinking, up here on the arms, closer to the heart, you can wear it on whichever one. But think about those activities where you're at high rocks and you're doing like the kettlebells, or you have to do sled push. Like, your blood flow is restricted when your wrists are engaged. So that's where having the Helio strap on your arm, you're actually getting more accurate heart rate information. And so that's all driving back to that biocharge number to give you that real-time indication of how your energies are throughout the day.
But that's sort of like the on-the-day scenario, right? But then all the data, I generally, I can see I'm draining a little bit, but generally when I wake up in the morning, I know how I feel, right? So I feel like good, I'm going to train a lot today. I don't feel good, I won't train a lot. Why is the collecting the data still so important?
Well, it's a calibration for you. Like, how you feel doesn't necessarily reflect what your body's condition really is, and a lot of that's psychologically driven, frankly, too. If you're anything like me, so where I want to kind of overachieve, right? So really, what this does, the data's not really a crutch as much as it's an enhancement, and helps you sort of understand your body, and you can understand how to calibrate the feeling to what's really going on.
Yeah, and also think about it like this too. All of that data is collecting in the Zepp app, right? So if you're training for that race, and it's not about how you're feeling that day, it's like the lead up to that event. So you want to have the ability to go back and figure out, like, okay, I saw I had a dip here. What did I do leading up to that? So again, it helps you kind of not only in your recovery to improve, but also in that training as you're leading up to that event. So there's that historical look back where you need to be able to see where there was those little ebbs and flows and what you can do to adjust and prepare.
And I think key in that one, if I look at, like, I'm a data nerd, so I like to look at all this stuff, is it all comes together. So as long as you got one device on throughout the day, it's all going to be collected and merged in terms of data.
Yeah.
How does it work if I wear multiple ones?
Yeah, well, so the devices are designed, as I said before, to be both interchangeable and also work together. So Matt, I think, mentioned, if you wear, say, the Helio strap as an armband, we're going to switch the heart rate monitoring to the Helio strap. It's going to be better for that, right? If you don't, you can still just wear the watch and you'll still get great heart rate monitoring, but on the wrist instead. And so really they're meant to work together. The app, once the data comes into the app and goes up to the cloud, it's deduped. We take the best of the best, if you will, and that data is then presented back to you.
So now, we got to be honest, right? It's an amazing product, but it can't do all quite yet. You teased the running power, for example, that is going to come, but people want to know now. So if we look at the running, for example, you look at the stride sensor, how is the connectability with products of other brands?
Oh, the products, it's very compatible. Like, we're trying to be an open platform, right? So I mentioned this in the presentation earlier. Like, the T-Rex 3 Pro is compatible with other Bluetooth sensors, so speed, cadence, power meters. Same thing with our Helio strap. You can actually wear this as a heart rate monitor if you want to pair this with, if you have a dedicated cycling computer, you can use this as your heart rate monitor. So it is very open. If you have an action camera, you can pair it to your watch to your action camera. So it is open to other third-party devices, and then we're opening it up to more and more third-party fitness apps, as we talked about, like Stride, Training Peaks, Intervals.icu, Strava, of course. So yeah, we want to give the customers the ability to use the devices the way they want to use them, not how we are telling them to use them. So they have their training regimen, they have their preferences. We're giving them the tools to make it better and more efficient.
All right. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, in summary, it's got more rugged. I want to say almost a little sleeker, which might just be the colors. It's got a lot more features that help you with recovery, with training and everything out there. It's got more accurate. It's got a longer battery life. It's going to be a tough call to beat that, without a doubt. But looking at all the new things, just to sum it up, I know everybody's thirsty for coffee now. Just each of you, give me some of the top features internally, externally, functionality on it that are your favorites in the new Pro.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm going to go back to what you had just said. Like, we've talked a lot about the hardware and everything, and the hardware is awesome. Love it. Really enjoy just wearing it every day, even though it's my product. I genuinely just enjoy wearing it. So the broad compatibility, the ecosystem, the open platform, for me is really important. I really appreciate the ability to share what I'm doing with my friends and family. My rides, my workouts, etc. And being able to experience, what's coming soon in terms of being able to take, coach's advice on a platform, say as Training Peaks, and pull it down and have it directly on my watch. All of that sort of stuff, for me, really is a step change in the utility of the watch, and so that's why I appreciate that the most, I think.
How about you, Matt?
I have a very similar answer. I was really focused. I'm excited about the Training Peaks integration, having the workouts right on the watch. The breadth of data fields or metrics that are in the watch, everything from VO2 max, in particular training load is a data point that I use frequently as I'm preparing for races. But I also, as simple as it is, I love the flashlight. I really, really do. So there's multiple other things we could talk about, but to sum it up, those would be the three I would focus on.
And one other thing too for me as well is back to the styling.
Yeah.
I don't want to just wear a plain square on my wrist. I'd like to have it look a little different, stand out somewhat, and we just have a nice range of choices as far as that goes as well.
So glad you mentioned the flashlight. I was waiting for it. I'm like, come on. It's so good. Somebody's got to mention it.
Yeah.
Thank you both for taking the time, for taking the trip over, actually, to come all the way to Berlin for
Thank
this.
you. Appreciate it.
Love it.
Thank you, everybody. And before we finish it off, I want to open up for questions. If you do have, yes, I believe we have microphones, so our viewers online can stay online and hear them as well.
Hello, Krzysztof Bogacki from ITRSR Magazine Poland. I have a question because you've mentioned a couple of times that your software works pretty good with third-party sensors, right? And all of these sensors are basically sports-focused, but how about things like glucose sensors? Will you plan to do something like that in the future?
All right, I'm just going to repeat that question because I think we're the only ones connected to the outside world.
Yep.
So the question is third-party sensors. They're very sports-focused right now, but how about other sensors, like, for example, glucose sensors?
Sure. So in the case of the glucose sensor, as you would note, there's a kind of a budding trend to start to monitor this as well in an athletic context. It's not just for health reasons if you're sort of beyond that athletic stage, and so that's nascent, developing. And we take a close look at that and keep a deep eye on that. We're not going to reveal anything new today as far as that goes, but yeah, it's definitely on the radar.
Thank you. Hi, it's Philip. You mentioned the shorter race. How did you set the watch for the longer race? Because it took 23 hours, and you, specs of the bigger watch says 19 hours. So did you charge it midway? Did you change it midway? Or did you set it up differently?
All right, interesting one. That goes out to the battery life. So we talked about the shorter 6-hour race where it was 70% drain. But then you mentioned that the battery life, if you got everything on, if you got the sirens, the light, everything going, it's 19 hours, but it took almost 23 hours. How do you handle the gap?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think as I mentioned, for those longer distances, that's where you shut off a lot of your sensors. You shut off Bluetooth, you shut off your heart rate, and then you get up to 100 hours. So that would be our GPS max battery life setting. So really, you don't really need to be connected to your phone out on those long distance. Maybe you want to, but if you're really trying to be conserve and mindful of your battery, that's where you'd go into that battery life setting and shut all those sensors off. But again, you're not missing any data if you're wearing the Helio strap on your arm. You're still getting your heart rate. You're still getting a lot of those other metrics that'll feed back in.
Any more questions? Yes.
Hello. You have talked about how the app work with different products when you wear. Could you explain a little bit more about it?
What would you like to talk more about that? Can we turn Jesus on?
Sorry. He's asking for how we can merge the data when you are wearing a couple of devices. So how the system works.
Okay, sure. So so the way we do it is proprietary. So we're not going to get into details of algorithms and things of that nature. Just suffice it to say that we take what we consider the best source for the data, and as I said, it's merged and deduped, in our cloud. Sort of after the fact, if you will.
So that for everybody out there who's still watching, that was a question regarding the data from the different devices, how you merge it, and then also like how you potentially pick the best device that delivers the most accurate data right now. More questions? Yes.
What's next? eSIM, satellite communication?
Ooh, the question is, what is next? eSIM, satellite communication. Well,
so I'll say a few things. So not like the glucose monitoring question. I think we're not gonna talk about anything about those in detail. I'll just say that we're always looking at the cutting edge technologies like this to bring that to market in a way that benefits our customers. So when the time is right, things like that will come for us. The other thing I think that you'll see from us going forward is a renewed effort, a double down, if you will, on keeping improving the features that we have going already. We've covered a lot of ground in a very short amount of time, and I think at this point we'd like to also make sure that we're going back and continually refining, as we've done and will continue to do. Those features that our customers today, right now, that are buying the watch now online, are going to use over the next few years. So,
perfect. With that, I mean, you'll be around. Jesus will be here as well to answer question individually over coffee and a little sit down. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to everybody watching here and joining us today live, and enjoy your day.